It's December. Everyone's making plans, parties, celebrations, New Year's resolutions. And you can't even get out of bed. Not because you're lazy, but because your body weighs 1,000 pounds. Your mind is a fog, and the idea of facing another day seems impossible. Impossible. This isn't laziness, this is survival mode. When getting out of bed feels like climbing Mount Everest, you're not weak, you're overwhelmed. This is Daniel's story. December 2023. Everyone around him was celebrating, and he couldn't move. He couldn't shower, he couldn't eat for days until someone said something that changed everything. You don't need a transformation. You need to survive the next 7 days. This isn't a motivational video. This is a survival guide. 7 days, 7 micro tasks for people who aren't in high performance mode, but in please just let me get through today mode. Are you stuck in bed right now? This is for you. If you're lying in bed right now with no energy for anything, sign up. Here we talk about mental health without romanticizing it or lying to you. Daniel's next 7 days could save yours. Daniel was 29 years old, December 2023. The end of the year was approaching, the time everyone looks forward to. Parties, family, joy. Daniel felt none of that. He felt weight, profound exhaustion. Not the exhaustion of I slept badly, the exhaustion of I'm carrying the world and I can't take it anymore. Severe depression, burnout from work, a relationship that had ended in October, and the suffocating loneliness of the end of the year. Daniel would wake up, look at the ceiling, and think, I can't. He couldn't get up. He couldn't shower. He couldn't eat. He would lie there, hours, days, staring into the nothingness. When your only accomplishment of the day is continuing to breathe, you're not lazy, you're depressed. And nobody understood, because on the outside, Daniel just looked tired, but inside, he was dying. The people around him weren't helping. Family called, come to Christmas. Daniel couldn't explain that getting out of bed to go to the bathroom was already a maximum effort, let alone crossing the city for the party. Friends texted, let's go out. Daniel read them. He didn't reply, because replying required energy he didn't have. His boss pressured him. You need to get back into the rhythm. Daniel didn't even know what rhythm was anymore. He had forgotten how to function. And everyone had an opinion. You just need to move, go exercise, get out of bed and live. As if it were simple, as if he hadn't tried, as if getting up was a matter of wanting to. But when you're emotionally overwhelmed, it's not about wanting, it's about getting. And Daniel couldn't, no matter how much he wanted to. His body had shut down, and there was no on-off switch. Daniel spent 3 days in bed, without getting up except to use the bathroom, without eating, without showering, without opening the curtains. Just him and the ceiling, and the weight. On the third day, a friend showed up unannounced. She knocked on the door. She insisted until Daniel opened it. She went in. She saw the state. Dark room, mess. Daniel thin, with dark circles under his eyes. Unshaven, bad smell. She didn't judge. She didn't lecture. She sat on the bed and said, you're not being lazy. You're collapsing. And collapse isn't solved with motivation. It's solved with survival. Daniel cried, for the first time in weeks, because someone had seen, had understood, had named it. Emotional burnout is not laziness. It's an overloaded nervous system. It's the brain saying, stop, or I'll stop you by force. And Daniel had been stopped by force, and he didn't know how to get back. The friend, who was a therapist, did something different. She didn't give him a list of 10 steps to overcome depression. She didn't say, you need to change your life. She said, let's survive today, just today. We'll think about tomorrow later. And she created something simple, a 7-day plan, not to transform Daniel, to keep him alive, functional, breathing. Perhaps you are where Daniel was, unable to imagine tomorrow, let alone plan for the new year. This plan isn't about becoming a different person. It's about getting out of bed, getting to eat, getting to keep going. Because when you're at rock bottom, transformation isn't the goal, survival is. And survival has steps, small ones, ridiculously small ones, but real ones, and enough to keep you alive until it passes, because it always passes, but you need to be alive when it passes. And this plan is for that, to keep you alive. 7 days, 1 micro task a day, nothing more. And Daniel did it, and he survived. And you can too. Day 1. Open the curtain. That's all. No need to get up, no need to shower, no need to go out. From where you're lying, stretch your arm. Open the curtains. Let the light in. Sunlight or a cloud, it doesn't matter. Just don't stay in complete darkness, because complete darkness tricks the brain. The brain thinks it's still night, and it stays in sleep mode. Light, any light, signals it's daytime. You are alive. Day exists. Daniel did this. First day, he opened the curtains. He lay down, watching the light come in. He didn't feel a miracle, but he felt a difference. A small one. You don't need a big turnaround. You need a small movement. Opening the curtains is a movement. A small one, but real. Do it today, now. If you're reading this during the day, open them. If it's night, do it tomorrow morning. First thing, open them. And just observe. Light coming in, you breathing, that's victory. It doesn't seem like it, but it is. Day 2. Drink water. You're probably dehydrated. When you don't get out of bed, you don't drink water. And dehydration makes everything worse. Tiredness, mental confusion, headache. Grab a bottle or a glass. Put it next to your bed. Today, your goal is to drink. It doesn't have to be 2 liters. It needs to be more than yesterday. 1 glass, 2, 3. Every sip counts. Daniel did this on the second day. He filled a bottle. He left it next to him. Every time he woke up, he drank. He didn't think, he just drank. By the end of the day, he had drunk almost a liter. It doesn't seem like much, but it was infinitely more than 0. Emotional overload dehydrates you physically and mentally. Water doesn't cure depression, but it helps your brain function 10% better. And 10% can be the difference between staying in bed for another day and being able to get up to go to the bathroom, between being able to eat and spending another day without food. Drink water today. Minimum goal, 1 glass. Maximum, as many as you can. No pressure. Just drink and count it as a victory, because it is. Day 3. Take a shower or wash your face. Today the goal goes up a level, but not by much. If you can take a shower, great. If not, wash your face, brush your teeth, something that involves water touching you. Because when you're in bed for days, you lose connection with your body. You become a floating head. Water reconnects you. I have a body. I feel cold. I feel wet. I exist physically. Daniel did this on the 3rd day. He couldn't manage a full shower, but he went to the sink. He washed his face. Cold water. Shock. And for 3 seconds, he felt something. Not happiness, but presence. I am here. Depression disconnects you from your body. Water reconnects you, even if only for seconds. If you can just wash your face today, that's enough. If you can manage a quick shower, even better. But it's not mandatory. Don't force it. Just try, 1 step at a time. And if you fail, try again tomorrow, without guilt, without judgment, just trying to continue, to exist, to not disappear completely. Day 4. Eat something, anything. You're probably not eating right. When depression hits, hunger disappears or turns into nausea, but the body needs fuel. Today, eat. It doesn't have to be a full meal. Fruit, a biscuit, bread, anything you can put in your mouth and swallow. Daniel ate a banana on the 4th day. It was brown, old, but he ate it, and he felt his stomach wake up. Ah, food exists. He didn't feel pleasure, but he felt function, his body working, even in minimal mode. You don't need a big turnaround. You need a small movement. Eating doesn't cure emotional burnout, but it gives your brain 15% more energy to think clearly. And 15% can be the difference between staying in bed for another day or managing to get up for 5 minutes. Eat today. Goal, 1 thing. A piece of fruit, a slice of bread, a cookie, and count it as a monumental victory because your body, which was giving up, has just received a signal. We're still here, still trying. Day 5. Get out of bed for 5 minutes. You don't need to leave the house. You don't need to get ready. Get up. Go to the living room or the kitchen or the balcony. 5 minutes. Sit in a different place. See things from a different angle. Because staying in bed for days creates a mental prison. You associate bed with pain, with weight, with despair. Changing places breaks that association, even if it's temporary. Daniel did this on the 5th day. He got up, he went to the balcony, he sat down, he looked at the street, people passing by, cars, life happening. He wasn't part of it, but he was seeing it, and that was something. When you're emotionally overwhelmed, movement breaks the cycle, even minimal movement. 5 minutes out of bed doesn't seem like much, but it's everything. It's you saying, I can be somewhere else. I'm not stuck here. Try it today. Get up, 5 minutes, count them, and go back to bed if you need to. Without guilt, you did it, and that counts. It always counts. Day 6. Talk to someone. Text or voice. Today, break the silence. Text someone. Hi, that's all. Or call. 2 minutes. No need to vent, no need to explain. Just connect. Because loneliness amplifies depression, and you've been alone for days, even if you have people around you. Alone in your own head. Break that today. A text. A call. Daniel texted his sister on the 6th day. Hi, I just wanted to say I'm alive. She replied in seconds. I was worried. Thank you for letting me know. And Daniel felt something. Not love, but connection. A thin thread, but real. Remembering, I matter to someone. Isolation is both a symptom and a cause of depression. Breaking the isolation, even with micro-connection, helps. Do it today. Choose someone. Send a hi and see what comes back. Sometimes nothing, sometimes everything. But you tried, and trying is winning. When you're collapsing, trying is everything. Day 8. Write down one thing you did this week. Grab your phone, open notes, write, this week I, and make a list. Open the curtains, drank water, washed your face, ate a banana, got out of bed for 5 minutes, sent a text message. Ridiculously small things, but you did them in a week that seemed impossible to do anything, and you did them. Perhaps you are where Daniel was, feeling like you haven't done anything, that you haven't made any progress. But he did it. This list is proof, not of transformation, of survival. And survival is the ultimate victory when the alternative was giving up. Daniel wrote the list on the 7th day. He reread it. He cried, I did it. In the midst of hell, I did it. And he felt something he hadn't felt in weeks. Not hope, but possibility. Maybe tomorrow I can do a little more. Make your list today and keep it, because on bad days to come, you'll need to remember, I've survived before. I can survive again. And you can. You always can. Researchers studied something called behavioral activation. They discovered that in severe depression, waiting for motivation to act doesn't work because motivation doesn't come. You need to act first, and motivation comes later. Small, but it comes. They tested it with 2 groups. Group 1 waited to feel like doing things. Group 2 did small things even without the desire. 6 weeks later, Group 1 hadn't improved. Group 2 had improved by 58%. Why? Because action creates momentum. Even minimal action. Opening the curtains doesn't seem like much, but it's action. And action tells the brain, we are still functional. We can still do something. You don't need a big turnaround. You need a small movement. And small movements break the paralysis. Little by little, but they break it. Another study analyzed the impact of natural light on depression. People who stayed in dark rooms had 40% worse depression than people exposed to natural light for 30 minutes a day. Light regulates the circadian rhythm. It signals the brain it's daytime. The body should be awake. Darkness confuses things. The brain thinks it should always be sleeping, and you're stuck in limbo, neither sleeping nor waking up. Daniel had been in the dark for days. When he opened the curtains on day 1, his brain began to recalibrate. Slowly, but it began. Lack of energy isn't always laziness. Sometimes it's a body lost in time, unsure if it's day or night. Light corrects that. Simple, but effective. Science proves it. and Daniel lived. Dehydration has also been studied. Researchers discovered that losing just 2% of body water reduces cognitive function by 20%. Attention drops, memory fails, mood worsens, and when you're in bed without drinking, you lose more than 2%. You lose much more. So the mental confusion you feel, part of it is depression, part of it is dehydration. Drinking water doesn't cure it, but it clears things up. 10%, 15%, enough to make micro decisions. I'm going to get up. I'm going to wash my face. Emotional overload dehydrates you both physically and mentally. Rehydrating is step 1 to getting back on your feet. Daniel drank water, and on the third day, he managed to think, maybe I'll take a shower. He didn't take a full shower, but he thought about it, and thinking was already progress. Water did that. Small, but real. Researchers also studied task breakdown. They took people who were depressed and asked them to tidy the house. No one could. It was too paralyzing. Then they asked, put a plate in the sink. 80% succeeded. Why? Small tasks are manageable. Large tasks paralyze. Getting out of bed and living is a gigantic task. It paralyzes. Opening the curtains is a small task, manageable. And when you complete a small task, the brain releases dopamine. Small, but real. I accomplished something. And that motivates the next small task, and the next, and the next. Depression isn't cured with grand plans. It's managed with micro tasks, one at a time, without a rush, without judgment. Daniel did it. 7 days, 7 micro tasks. And on the 8th day, he woke up and thought, maybe today I can accomplish 2 things. And he did, because momentum had begun. Small, but real. And enough. Daniel didn't become a different person in 7 days. There was no miraculous transformation. He didn't wake up cured on the 8th day, but he woke up functional. He managed to get up without it being an impossible task. He managed to take a shower. He managed to eat a meal. A small one, but a meal nonetheless. He managed to leave the house for 10 minutes, but he left. When you're experiencing emotional burnout, progress isn't linear. It's a zigzag, but it is progress. Daniel had relapses. Days he went to bed. Days he couldn't accomplish anything, but he had a list. 7 days he had survived. Proof that I could, and that was his anchor. I did this before. I can do it again. And he did. Again and again, until it became routine. Not perfect, but functional. The therapist friend explained something crucial. You're in survival mode, not living mode, and that's okay. Survival is a stage, not a destination. Daniel asked, how long until I live again? She replied, I don't know, but I know that survival comes before living. Always. And you're surviving. That's enough for now. Don't force yourself to live when you're in survival mode. Respect where you are and work from there, not from where you think you should be. Daniel did it. He stopped putting so much pressure on himself. He stopped comparing himself to those who were enjoying the end of the year. He was surviving the end of the year, and that was a major victory, because the alternative was not making it to the new year. And he did. Alive. Functional. Broken, but alive. January arrived, everyone with renewed energy, resolutions, plans. Daniel had none of that, but he had a routine. Open the curtains, drink water, take a shower, eat, go out for 5 minutes, talk to someone, write down what he did. 7 things, every day. And some days he did more, others just that. But always that, the bare minimum. And the bare minimum kept him alive, functional, in motion. Perhaps you are where Daniel was, unable to make plans, unable to have resolutions. That's fine, you don't need to. You need a minimum routine, 7 things, to survive. And when survival becomes easy, you add an 8th thing, and a 9th, and a 10th. But start with 7, because 7 is manageable. 7 fits within your collapse. 7 doesn't crush you. 7 sustains you. Slowly, but it sustains you. March 2024. Daniel was different. Not cured, but alive. Working part-time, seeing friends once a week, in therapy, taking medication, having bad days, but also having okay days. And okay days were enough. He met a friend who had done a 7-day plan. He thanked her. You saved me. She replied, I didn't save you. I gave you a map. You walked. And it was true. Daniel had walked 1 micro step a day for months, and he had arrived at a habitable place. Not perfect, but habitable. And habitable is victory when you started in an uninhabitable place. You don't need a big turnaround. You need small movements, repeated, day after day, until it becomes momentum, and momentum becomes life. Daniel proved it. You can too, starting today, with a curtain, then water, then a shower, step by step, until you get there, where you need to get, which isn't perfection, it's function, and function is enough. It always has been, it always will be. Emotional safety warning. If you are thinking about taking your own life or harming yourself, please seek help immediately. Call your local emergency number, such as 911 in the US/Canada, 999 or 112 in the UK/EU, or a crisis helpline in your country. This video is for support, not a substitute for professional or emergency help. Let's recap the 7-day plan. Day 1, open the curtain. Light tells the brain it's daytime, you're alive. Day 2, drink water. Rehydrates the brain, clears it up by 10%, enough for the next step. Day 3, wash your face or take a shower. Reconnect with your body. I exist physically. Day 4, eat something. Minimum fuel for the brain to function. Day 5, get out of bed for 5 minutes, breaking the association between bed and prison. Day 6, talk to someone, text or voice, break the isolation. Day 7, write down what you did. Survival test, anchor for next week's bad luck. You don't need a big turnaround. You need small movement. 7 movements, 7 days. Repeat until it becomes routine, until it becomes life. Science proves it. Behavioral activation works. Action before motivation. Natural light reduces depression by 40%. Dehydration worsens cognitive function by 20%. Breaking down tasks makes them manageable. Daniel didn't invent anything. He followed science, applied in microdoses. Lack of energy isn't laziness, it's emotional overload. It's your body saying stop, recharge, survive. And survival has a roadmap, 7 steps, small but enough, to keep you alive until you're ready for more. And when you are, you add an 8th step, then a 9th. But it starts with 7. Always 7. Here are 3 practical reminders. Reminder 1, survival is not failure. It's a stage. You're not failing by not living life to the fullest. You're surviving, and that's enough. For now, respect where you are. Reminder 2, progress is not linear. It's a zigzag. There will be days when you go back to bed, when you can't accomplish anything. It's not about starting from scratch, it's about starting over from experience. You know you can do it because you've already done it. So try again, without guilt. Reminder 3, minimum viable product is a victory. Opening the curtains may seem like nothing, but it's everything when the alternative is staying in the dark. Light is revolution. Count small victories, because they are the only ones that matter when you're collapsing. Daniel today is not an example of overcoming adversity. He is an example of real survival. He doesn't have a perfect life, he has a functional life. Good days, bad days. A minimal routine that keeps him alive, and that's enough. Maybe you're in bed right now, reading this, with no energy for anything. Do one thing, just one. Open the curtains, if it's daytime, or drink water if you have a bottle nearby, or wash your face if you can get up. One thing, just one, today. And tomorrow, try another, and then another, 7 days, 7 things, and you survive. You don't transform, you don't heal, but you survive. And survival is victory when the alternative was giving up. You don't need a big turnaround, you need small movement. Starting now, with one thing, small but real, and enough to keep you alive until it passes, because it always passes, but you need to be alive when it passes, and you will be, one micro step at a time. Do one thing now, out of the 7 I listed. 1. Which one can you do right now? Open the curtains, drink water, choose, and do it. And then come back here and comment, I did it on day 1, or I did it on day 3, or which one you did, because seeing other people doing it will motivate you to continue. Subscribe to the channel. Here we talk about mental health without romanticizing it and without lying to you. Every week we bring you real survival, not fake motivation. Stick with us, because you're not alone, and survival is easier when we do it together. One day at a time, one task at a time, and you've only just begun.